Okay, we've got 3 simple WSP scripts for dealing with deploying and undeploying WSP files to a SharePoint farm. And these are intentionally as simple as we can make them while doing what we need them to do, so that hopefully they're easy to learn. So let's take a look at the first script here. This is simple WSP deploy. And one of the assumptions is that the WSP that we're going to deploy and the script that we're going to use to deploy it are going to be in the same directory. So just take a quick look here. You can see I've got simple WSP deploy. The WSP file I'm going to deploy is right here, training branding WSP. So they're in the same directory. And what we do here is on line 5, we add the PowerShell snap-in for SharePoint so that we can just double-click the PS1 and run it that way if we want to. Line 8, we've got a function main. Line 10, we're looking at the path variable here, and we're setting it to the current location of the script that's running. And then line 11, we've got the WSP variable, and we're assigning it to the name of the WSP. And then lines 14 through 20, this is I guess a fairly complicated way of saying we need to know the URL for the web application. So really the part that's important here is this right here. We're assigning a URL to the web application. Now the reason that we've done it this way, and this maybe is a little bit more difficult than the simplest script possible, but this is handy if you've got multiple environments and you want to use the same script for dev, stage, and production. This env computer name should return the name of the computer the script is running on. We can then match that against the list of our expected names that we're expecting this to run on, like our dev server, our stage server, our production server. If we don't find anything, we can set a default. In this case here, I actually exit the script because I want this to match one of these. So that's a little bit more sophisticated way of doing just this here, but you'll find it's pretty handy if you've got multiple machines. And then we come down to the meat and potatoes of the script, which is to add the solution, install the solution, and enable the features. So add solution is pretty straightforward. We've got the literal path parameter. If you're not familiar with PowerShell, you'll notice here that we've got a double quote and then a variable name, a slash, another variable name, and double quote. PowerShell will expand those variables for us, so we don't have to do any kind of fancy formatting. Pretty nice little feature of PowerShell. As a side note, I am using Notepad++. Note down on the bottom right, it is UTF-8. When I had started this, I had copied this code out of my website, and I think it defaulted to UTF-8 or ANSI or something like that. It was giving me errors. It didn't like the encoding, and it was complaining about unclosed strings or something. So in this tool, I just changed it to UTF-8 and did a convert to UTF-8, and that fixed the problem. So we do our install solution, and then we run this wait for timer script right here, or a function I should say. We come down here, and first thing I want you to notice is I got this from Nick Patel. Nick has a very robust script that is worth looking into if you're going to be doing a ton of these deployments. But what I did, I grabbed from Nick's script is this wait for timer function, and what it does is it finds the solution file associated with the WSP, and then it looks at the solution to see if there is a current job running or not. And if there is, then it goes into this kind of 2-second sleep cycle where it loops through, right? And it'll only do that, I think, a total of 50 times. That's that's this value right here. But the idea is that if we have multiple machines on a farm, or even with one machine, these timer jobs are, they're a little inconsistent. Sometimes they're done in 30 seconds. Sometimes they take a minute, right? So we don't want to wait any longer than we have to. I suppose you could get around this by just putting in sleep 60 or sleep 90 and kind of hoping for the best. But this is a pretty elegant way of doing it, so I think it's worth including in the script. And lastly, we enable the feature with its identity parameter and the URL of the website, which we got from up above in that assignment. So let's take a quick look at what our website looks like right now. Let me just refresh it. And what we're going to be doing is applying some branding to this. So you can see it's just kind of out-of-the-box branding. And then let's go over to PowerShell, and let's deploy this. And the please wait that you see there is coming from right here. So that's that wait for timer job that's running. And here you can say it says it's enabled. We can press any key to continue. And let's come over to our browser and refresh this, and we should have a different look now. And there we go. The look has changed. One quick comment is if you don't know the identity of the feature that you're looking for, once the WSP is installed, you can use get SP feature, and I'm going to go ahead and sort by display name. And this gives us the feature names that we have in our farm here. You can see the kind of feature it is on the right. And I think this was called, what was it called, like training branding or something like that? Yeah, here we go. So that was the name of the feature there, and then this was the GUID that I grabbed out of there. Hopefully, if you're an admin, your developers are already going to give you these WSP batch files, with the proper stuff in them. But if you're in a pinch and you can't find it, this is one way to do that. So we saw that we were able to deploy it. Undeployment is basically the same thing in reverse. So if we look at our retract script for a second here, it's all exactly the same code, except for right here, we've got disable feature, uninstall solution, remove solution, right? So kind of the same thing in reverse, and we can show what that looks like. And when this is done, we can go back and refresh the website and confirm that the page looks back to the old way. And then the last script, which we won't show, but we'll just look at the script itself, is this redeployment. And if we look at that, it's the same thing except for it has both sections. It's got the retracting on top, and then the deploying underneath that, calling wait for timer, at each stage, right? And the retraction and redeployment in one script is handy. If you've updated a WSP, you would put the updated WSP in that directory. There'd be no need to have the old WSP to remove it, right? You don't need to have that WSP file to remove it, just to deploy it. And generally speaking, most people I've talked to say that the best way to update a WSP is actually not to use the update feature that SharePoint has, but actually remove it and reinstall it, because the update feature only does a proper update under certain circumstances and all that kind of stuff. So let's go take a look at our script. This should be done. Looks like it is. Let's go refresh our browser here. And we're back to our original branding. So those are the deploy and redeploy scripts.